Dude, thanks for coming on today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Of course. Of course.
All right. Is there where are you calling from, by the way?
Boca Raton, Florida.
Ah, nice. I'm all the way up in Rochester, New York.
Nice.
So we went sledding yesterday. A little bit different than what you guys are doing there.
Yeah. That's nice. It's like it's winter time. It's seasons are nice.
When people always say, "Oh, how can you handle all the weather up there and stuff?" I always say, "Dude, it's just like feelings. If you don't experience all the seasons, you're just not living your life."
I agree, dude. I agree. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love South Florida, but if you've never experienced the winter, come on.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for being here. Do you have any questions for me before we jump in?
No, locked and loaded.
All right, cool. Um, First question I ask everybody, Adam, when they come on the Mindful Impact podcast is just to get a little information about where you are right now in your life. When you wake up in the morning, what is it that just makes your heart sing out loud for the day that's ahead of you?
I would have to say that's my spiritual connection. I love what I do. I love helping people. I love watching people's eyes light up and the lights go on and then believe in themselves. But it all starts with me with my recovery, and it's that connection to my higher power that I would call God. That just like it's basically like having a Red Bull. It's just I wake up on fire and ready to attack the day.
That's awesome. I did my research on you, and I just want to express, like, before we even get into anything, like my appreciation, my like gratitude, and just like brilliance that you're living right now. You're living like exactly how probably most people, that you're living your purpose. You're living what you were meant to do, and that's not easy, right? It's not easy to jump into. I want to start there.
Okay.
Um, how did you gain the confidence? How did you gain the clarity to be able to go from, I know you were working as a third generation business owner of the lace business that your family owned, to doing what you're doing now? How did that happen?
So Justin, first off, thank you. Like that means a lot because to a lot of people, this looks like it happened overnight. And the truth is, it took 14 years for me to get here. And in reality, if you really want to look at it, it took 44 years to get to the point that
Yeah.
I'm at. It started when I got clean and sober um, in 2006. And I'm an all in kind of guy in life. So I attacked my recovery program like my life depended upon it because it did. And day after day, month after month, year after year, my recovery was just kind of beaming out of me. My spirituality was just, and it was attracting a lot of people. And I always attract local people. Before I knew it, I was helping people in recovery that were celebrities, entertainers, then athletes, then politicians, and this thing started to grow. Um, and it was very fulfilling. It made me feel very good, but I had an enterprise to watch after.
Yeah.
And I always knew I had this heavy burden of taking over the family business. And I thought, well, you know what, maybe one day when I'm 50 or 55, I could do two things at once, because you can never let go of the family baby. That was the family, that was the first child in the family. And then God just kind of took care of the rest, man. So we had a few hard years in business, put a lot of money back into the business, payroll, making sure all expenses were paid, and things slowed down. And the reason, the whole intimate apparel wasn't our industry, and there was a reason. Um, Although I don't know if this is boring, but I'll just explain it. So we manufactured lace like Victoria's Secret, sexy lingerie, right?
Okay.
Between Amazon killing brick and mortar stores, between the Me Too movement kind of killing the sexy, oh, you need to look perfect look, and China just killing people in prices, it was like the perfect storm. It was the perfect storm. The whole industry started going down the toilet. And when things are quiet, you take every phone call. And we picked up the phone one day, and it was somebody that wanted to buy our building. We we thought the building was, let's say, worth this amount. They offered that amount, and it was time. It was time. The writing was on the wall. The manufacturing really has gone overseas, and it was time for me to be me. Justin, it was time for me to be me. And I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew what my passion was. And I went into life coaching, and I went to recovery mentorship, and I gave birth to the Hero Project. But it was not easy. It went against a lot of people's, wants for me. I had family members that wanted me to go take over a factory, to go stay in lace. But I had to be me. And it was not easy, man. It
Okay.
really wasn't.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. And I want to get more onto that exact spot, but I want to get the timeline right for the people listening. So when that phone call came, Adam, was that during your sobriety, or
Oh
was
yeah,
that
dude, that was 14 years later.
okay?
Yeah. So that's why I said, day after day, month after month, year after year. I mean, it was not what you've seen. What people see in me now is 14 years of training. But the Hero Project looks like it was just released. The reason it took off is not because of the marketing or the PR, is because what I do is the real deal. The people I've worked with are the real deal.
Yeah.
The testimonials are the real deal. But it was hush hush. And a lot of the people that I worked with were in an anonymous program. For them to step out and say, yes, I've worked with Adam, I love Adam, it was huge. So
Mhm.
so this thing, it looks like it happened overnight, but it really didn't.
And when you were telling yourself during that time, and there's a reason I'm asking these questions, when you were telling yourself like, there'll be a day when I can go all in on this Hero
Yeah.
Project or whatever it was called at the time or
There
whatever
was
you
no
were doing.
name. There
There
was
was
no
no
name.
name, but you knew you loved doing it, right? And you
Yeah.
knew that you want, like you were like, man, and you were telling yourself, maybe when I'm 50 or 55 or something, we can spend more time on this and do it.
Yeah.
It's almost as if like the universe was like, hey, Adam, it's time. You're going to get this phone call. Like we're going to make, so whatever you put in place to create that phone call to happen, do you believe that that was truthfully like a moment in time that you created by what you were putting out there for that to happen so that you can do what you do now and help so many more people?
That's a great question. So I'm split in two when I
Okay.
want to answer this, and I'll tell you why. There's a huge part of me that wants to say, look, there are a lot of people. I try to get jobs for. I did get a job for every employee that wanted a job, but there were a lot of lives that were changed dramatically, um, even within my own family.
Mm,
And I would hate to say that the power of my destiny or the power of my manifesting could alter those people's realities. Having said that, I do believe that God will do for you what you can't do for yourself. The universe will do for you what you can't do for yourself. There's a flip side to that coin, mind you. It won't do for you what you can do for yourself, but it will do for you what you can't do for yourself. And I
mm.
do believe that there was some sort of divine timing that happened, because I can't explain to you how this thing took off so beautifully. It would seem like a Disney movie.
Okay.
So Adam, what'd you do? You asked Tinkerbell to sprinkle some pixel dust on you, pixie dust on you,
Interesting.
and you flew, and it's like
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, I what I want to ask is, what is your I have a lot of addiction in my family. My parents come from, my dad has 8 brothers and sisters. My mom has a smaller family. I have a brother, but there's addiction spread throughout aunts, uncles, cousins, a lot of it. Um, so I understand, I understand what people around you, I don't understand the actual, situation, but people around you go through. What is life like? And I don't know if this is the right time to ask the question or if we should get some more background, but what was family life like for you during when you were drinking, right? And without realizing that you had a problem, I'm assuming, right? And then afterwards, now today, what is your life like? The differentiation, major three, four things that are totally different.
I'm gonna let it all out.
Okay,
Okay. This just this is my first podcast and I'm doing that.
is it really?
Yeah. And
Oh
I'm
well,
letting it all out. I'm gonna let
dude,
it all out.
that's awesome. I appreciate it. I
So
appreciate the vulnerability too.
so in the beginning it was torture because you want to be there, you want to be with your family, you want to look like the most responsible, wonderful guy, but inside you're craving and obsessing for a drink so bad. So and you don't want to let anyone down and you know it's wrong and you feel the shame and you feel the despair and you feel the judgment, so you start hiding it and you start lying about it and you start, and if they don't like the alcohol, you start finding other substitutes like Xanax or anything you can to feel comfortable in your own skin. So I'm not saying to please have empathy for us alcoholics and addicts, but people just don't know. They just don't get it. It's hell. It's because you don't want to let down your loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't. But you need it as bad as you need to breathe. But those people don't want you doing it. So there's a pickle. That's the disease. That's the dis-ease.
Right.
Right? Then there's the recovery period, which you asked about, which is wonderful. Family supports you, depending on how your recovery looks. It could be 12-step based. You make meetings, you get a mentor or a sponsor, you do all the things that you should do to stay sober that day. You pray, you meditate, you help another person in the recovery process. There's a whole world that you become a part of. If you're lucky and you're fortunate, your family will grow with you as your recovery grows. But many people, like myself, the family stays stuck when they helped you, and you're not that person anymore. They see you as broken, and you're more fixed than ever. They see, hey, we're the ones that helped you. Don't you say you shouldn't grow like that? You shouldn't become yourself. We just wanted you to stop drinking. We didn't want you to become this.
Mm.
And that's where the rubber meets the road. And you're going to have to one has to make some really hard choices. Do you go backwards for other people's love and approval and comfort? Do you try to bring them along, which I did for many, many years? Or do you say, my recovery and my soul and my spirit is more important than the way you envision me, the way you want to keep me in this little bubble?
Right.
And that is really, really hard.
Hmm. Never heard it put that way. That's really interesting. We just wanted you to stop drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Who are you to go and do all this extra stuff and be this different person, like completely different than who we want you to be or who you were? That's really, I think that happens a lot on any spiritual journey that someone goes on. Right? Do you attribute to your sobriety? I mean, obviously helping others, but do you attribute like what is your spiritual journey look like? Is it a meditation? Is it a reading all the time? Is it prayer? What does it look like?
So it's a great question, by the way. It's the first time I've ever been asked that. What happened was something inside of me changed. It's very intrinsic.
Mm.
And then what I do is I water that power with all of those things. So prayer doesn't keep me in tune with God. It's a tool. Meditation doesn't keep me in tune with God. It's a tool. The way I take care of my body is not what keeps me in tune with God. It's a tool. The reading is not what keeps me in tune with spirit. It's a tool. So all of these things are valuable tools that I like to pick up all throughout the day. But it's not the one thing. It's not like, okay, well, if I skip the prayer today, but I do this and this and this. But look, you need a little bit of it all.
Yeah, and Dion, how do you say it? Dion DiMucci? That
Yeah,
was his name.
Dion.
Yeah, I did. I saw he was your, I don't know if you want to call him mentor or life changer or spiritual coach.
Dude, all of it. He's like a spiritual father, but he's been. I guess. Thank you. By the way, thanks for bringing him up. That means a lot. He's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
His album right now is #1 on the charts at 80 years old. Um, you know,
Wow.
he got a beautiful birthday card from Bruce Springsteen and Paul Simon and Van Morrison and Joe Bonamassa. I mean, he's still on top of the world, but this is the guy that took me under his wing and showed and put my hand in God's and put my hand in recovery and showed me how to live. He really showed me how to live, and he taught me so many things, Justin. I mean,
Well,
the whole podcast could be lessons from Dion.
well, Adam, that's a beautiful thing. And how simple was it as a strong willed male, obviously, somebody that is like a go-getter like yourself, I could see that just by researching if you're going to put your mind to something, you go for it, right? um which How difficult was it difficult for you to open up and say, you know what, I'll accept help from you, like let me, you be my guide a little bit, or let me look up to you as a person, individual, to show me the way or the path or whatever you want to call it?
It's a
Was
great
it
question.
what?
No, well, for me, no. Because of templates. Well, one, I had a spiritual awakening or spiritual experience that shifted the whole way I saw life.
Let's stop you there. What was it?
I went to rehab. I signed up to go to rehab for 10 days, right?
Yeah.
Which is funny. That's what I said. But along those not the 9 days, and I went in with this idea that I was going to be the most dedicated, disciplined, hardworking rehab patient they've ever seen. And what will happen is obviously they're going to go, there's nothing wrong with this guy. This guy's an animal. It's got to be his family. But everything started to backfire. Everything backfired. Every council meeting, every doctor meeting, every outside 12-step meeting, every meditation, every guy that I met that I started liking and I'm identifying with. And what happened was a part of my ego, or not a part of my ego, the disease and my ego was being crushed, and a new part of me was being reborn, and I didn't know it. And it came in the form of a panic attack on day 9. And there's a thing in was a psychology called the parallel process. I experienced something called the parallel process, where I literally saw two of me. I saw my decisions clear as day. And there was one of me that was the angry, I'm right, you're wrong, alcoholic. Get in the fucking car, pick me up. I'm done, blah, blah, blah. I'm different than these people. This guy's shooting heroin. This guy's smoking crack. This guy, I'm just this, just that I'm different. I'm different. Me, 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 me. Adam,
Mm-hmm.
Adam, Adam. And then there was this other guy. And I didn't know if he had to be poor. I didn't know if I had to be baptized. I didn't know if I had to wear a yarmulke. I didn't know what the heck that guy was going to be like, but I knew he was sober. That I knew. And I jumped into that guy. So when I jumped into that guy with 2 feet, a part of me died. Right. And I'm telling you, my blood pressure was way over 180. The physical body shows what you're experiencing in your internal world. If you're having a panic attack, it shows. If something part of you's dying, it shows. And we still have all the tests. I still have everything from the Hanley Center where I went to treatment to show, like, it's all documented. So when I came into recovery and I saw Dion, and I met Dion when I was 12 years old, it felt like divine timing. And I'm the kind of guy that if I want a certain body, let's say, I would be happy to ask a trainer, how do you do it? Show me what to do. I need to know everything.
Okay.
So I already had that mindset, but now that other part of me had died, that any part of me that had any fight whatsoever. So it was the perfect combination of finding the right man at the right time with the right amount of willingness. And he was a. By the way, I should probably also say this: the amount that he was revered and respected certainly helped.
Mm.
Because
Yeah, sure.
I wasn't asking, for me, and that you can even say it's my ego, but I wasn't asking Joe Schmo. I was asking somebody that's really, really admired and respected and looked
Yeah.
up. So, and I felt that way.
What do you think it was? What do you think? There's a couple questions in there I want to ask. What do you think it was for him to want to be your guy, mentor, or spiritual guy?
I think he saw my willingness. I think, well, he remembered meeting me at 12 years old, which
Okay,
really helped.
that's interesting.
Yeah, is wild. And I think he saw my willingness. I think he saw my openness, and I think there was a connection between us that, sometimes people have it and sometimes people don't. Sometimes people look at their person and they fall in love with a woman or a man, and we saw each other, and it was like, I think I can at least say for me, I saw like a father,
Mm,
and I think he saw a willing son, and there was just a connection, and it could be the
beautiful.
Bronx in New Jersey, it could be God, it could be the way we both talk, the way we both love, but
Yeah,
there was something there. There was just a connection that was uncanny, and I love that man to death. I love that man.
beautiful. Well, I'll tell. Look, here's so the Mindful Impact podcast. The people listening, it's a lot of people either deciding to go on a shift and go into meditation or to start. Let me back up. My one of my goals with this podcast is to get as many people meditating as possible, just 10 minutes a day,
Sure.
just to use that tool to go in to begin your journey of transformation, I guess you could say, right? Because I think it's so powerful. It changed me. Um, and so there's a lot of people here that are jumping on the podcast saying, all right, what's Justin talking about? What is this whole thing about that he always preaches and speaks about? And so they're deciding maybe I want to get on that journey. Maybe I want to step on that path. And then there's people that are already in the middle of it and that are just wanting to grow more by listening, right? So, and then a couple other situations. But for you, okay, you were, you know, you go all in. So obviously you're going all in on alcohol, right? And drinking. And you were a totally different acting individual than you are now. Uh, so you had a huge shift, right? Like you were Adam, who obviously was making a lot of money. You were still working out back then, right?
Yeah.
In shape. You had friends, you were drinking, you um you weren't on a spiritual path, or if it was very little, and then you shifted, right? You changed. So you probably looked in the mirror and were like, who the heck am I? Did you see somebody come? I mean, just to be sober is one thing in itself, to be like, whoa, holy cow, I'm who is this guy, right? And then to add a huge piece on top of that,
Yeah.
of your spiritual and wanting to help others and going on that. um how did you, because I went through this, how did you find yourself, or how long did it take before you actually got comfortable with the new you, or the changed transformed you? Do you remember that transform, like how that happened?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say, I don't want to turn anybody off though. So, and by the way, I can speak about meditation all day because it's a huge part of my practice. But the truth would be probably 5 years, because okay, so let's go back to my personality, which I don't wish upon anybody. It's all in, and I can't stop. I attack and I attack and I learn. So what happens is I'm in that zone, and I'm in that, and I don't even really come up for air. So all these skills were kind of like being bestowed upon me and growing in me, and then all of a sudden it was 5 years later when I could control
Mm.
them.
I'm
It wasn't overnight. And I remember catching up to my sobriety, being like, whoa, because I pushed so hard. The speaking was coming easily, the helping people was coming easily. I mean, everything was because I just couldn't stop. I couldn't get out of that zone, which I'm not saying it's easy to live with when you're with somebody like me.
I was just gonna look. I can relate to you completely, Adam. Enneagram 7. I'm the same type of individual, so I know and I've learned that it's exhausting for the people around me to be around that. So, right, you can. So I'm trying to, and then also what happened was I went from one ego, and and I'm bringing this up for a reason, but I went from one ego to another type of ego where I was like, oh, now I see things.
Yeah.
Now I know what's going on with this person and that person, why they're acting that way, why they're doing this. And then I had to slow that down. And then I had to find, where am I happy? So the reason I ask you that is because people listening, there's like, we all go through different shifts, and we have to just stay, what would you say, stay the course, or just trust your own intuition,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just keep going?
And for me, everybody has their own lessons, right? Because everybody's personality is so different. Everyone's gifts and talents are so different. For me, it was a lot. It was a lot about learning how to value myself, not other people's approval so much.
Hmm.
So, and that was hard. And once that confidence came out, and not arrogance, mind you, confidence that, like, you know what, like, no, my opinion matters too, and what I want to do matters in life too. I'm allowed, I'm not just a walking paycheck. That's sober. What my dreams, my goals, my values are important as well. And that's hard for people when they're used to you being a cheerleader for them. That's difficult. And once I gave myself this much of the love and the attention that I give others, I took off. I took off.
And how is that now with the people around you that maybe found it difficult in the beginning? How is that? How are those relationships now?
Everything's changed. Everything's changed. My marriage has changed. My kids adore me. My kids love it. Because this thing gained a lot of attention, and a lot of attention means stuff on social media, and the kids know more about social media than I do. So it's kind of cool for them to see that my relationship with my parents, everything shifted, but for me, for the better. Everything shifted, and now look, I can't tell you that every single person that has been in my journey thus far um, is happy of the way things have unfolded. But I'm proud to be myself 24/7. Not 1 hour a day in a recovery meeting, or then another hour when I'm helping somebody else. Or I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the man I've become 24/7. And I've wanted every single person to support me as much as I support them. You cannot change people's behavior. You can't change people. That's the hardest part. You cannot change. You can't make somebody love you. You can't make somebody approve of you, no matter how hard you try. Hardest lesson I've ever learned. Hardest lesson I've ever learned. So if you can't make somebody love you, and all you're doing is seeking their approval by people pleasing, that's an awful game.
You're going to be disappointed a lot.
100%. So then it's better to just get that over with and rip off the Band-Aid and be you, be fully you, because there is no other you in the world. And it's not fun. I'm letting you know, man, it's been to every little bit of success that I have gained has been painful, with a decision. With a decision.
I don't know why this question's coming up right now, but is it easier? I mean, you've made money, so is it easier to make $1 million, or us just say become wealthy, or is it easier to be happy to allow yourself to create a space to be happy 24/7, or to be not happy 24/7, but love yourself 24/7?
It's easier to make money. 100%. 110%.
So interesting to think about.
110% it's easier to make money. So the money, if you have mind in your personality, you have some charisma, you have some drive, and it just takes a tenacity, and it takes an unwavering faith that you just won't lose. You will make the money. And money is like an energy, and once you break that, once you start getting it, it's almost like it'll just start doubling and tripling it, right? It's an energy. It just keeps getting coming to you, and decisions become easier because all you've been doing is focusing on growing that number, and it will come, right? It'll come, and you'll see it in the bank account. You'll see it when you check the stock market, and it'll come. However, to be comfortable in your skin and to love yourself and to take care of yourself means you're going to disappoint a lot of people. That's a fact.
In what way? What do you mean by that?
Well, so many of us are very comfortable playing small or over compromising for other people's comfort and saying, well, it's compromise, or it takes two, or I see it over and over and over again. And then what happens is that man or that woman starts playing a double life. You know, they're really not happy, but they're showing you they're happy. They're really, yes, they on paper they look like the best mom or they look like the best dad, but they have these dreams and these goals and these visions that they've never ever pursued, and they're dying to, but the husband won't let them and the wife won't let them, and it just turns into an awful game. And then what happens is that if they decide I'm doing it, even if it's as small as I'm going back to college, it's going to come up with, well, who's going to watch the kids, and who's going to do this, and who's going to do that, and when are you going to go to college, and how do you, because people want you the way they have you now.
It's the reason I'm not reacting right away is because I'm like letting your statements sink in, because they're really powerful.
But it's, you know what I mean? So it's difficult to say, you know, and that's where it starts getting into, is it selfish? Well, I don't know. I mean, if I take care of myself and it's supposedly selfish, I have way more love to give.
Right.
And I tried the other way of being selfless, and it ended me up in rehab. So, you know, being our true selves is, I'm just speaking for me, you know, I can speak. Being our true selves is so fucking hard. And and I have the evidence to prove it. Go to a Tony Robbins conference and look how many people are there. Go look up how many spiritual books are on the market now, right? How many spiritual podcasts, how many different anonymous programs there are. Used to be just AA. Mm-hmm. Now it's NA, HA, this A, that A, right? It's so freaking hard to be who you're meant to be. I don't care if it's David Goggins, Tony Robbins, Jesse Itzler. These people are, believe it or not, if you put them together, they each would have almost the same exact mission statement channeled through different personalities. You know, which is, I'm a template here for you to tell you to be your fucking self. If that means go running 20 miles, go run 20 miles. If that means go back to college, go back to college. But like every single person that many of us admire, respect, are friends with, myself included in that, are templates to say, you can do this, but it's not going to be easy. And the hard part ain't the work. The work's the fun part. The work is the fun. It's everyone's reaction to you when you change. Are you game?
Friends, family included. It's really, that's an interesting.
Look, you started a podcast, right? You started, and look, you're glowing right now. Right? And like, was it hard? Like, honestly, was it that hard to plug the microphone in, to put the headphones on, and to start speaking? Was that the hard part? Because it looks like this is your calling. Or was it like actually telling people, I think I'm going to start a podcast? And then everyone's opinions. Here we go. Right?
Oh, if I could do a whole episode on opinions and people give it still today. How's that podcast going, weirdo? Yeah. Or, you know, like, dude, really? Like, Or,
But that's the
how's your
hard
podcast?
part.
You making $1 million yet? How's that going?
But that's
Uh,
the hard part. Dealing with those
yeah.
people is the hard part. This right now, you and I, is fun.
Oh, I love it.
The work is fun.
Yeah. 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 The work is fun. And, the behind the scenes stuff is not as fun, right? The paperwork and the uploading and the editing and all that. So if you could eventually have enough money to have people do that for you, it makes it even more fun. But
Sure.
yeah, 100%. The conversations, I could have these all day with individuals that have gone through, things and have wisdom like yourself. And dealing with outside. And then, you know what? It's on your mind too. When people make these comments and say things, it's on your mind. It's weird how it's like, okay, I have this podcast interview I'm going to do. Oh, a couple of people get busted my balls about it recently, and it's like, why is there, I don't know, you have to get past that and through it. And I'm very good at doing that, but not a lot of people are. And I think that's why, like you said, it's hard. A lot of people can't get through that. And then they'll start and then stop, right? There's a whole stopping. Everybody's always starting,
I have
stopping.
three things to tell you. I hope this comes off with humility because I'm not an arrogant person. But there are three things in that exact story that I want to tell you because you'll get this more than anybody. When I decided that I wanted to do this and do this professionally, I had a few friends that go, "Oh, who do you think you are? The next Tony Robbins?" Now I know who Tony Robbins is. And I didn't study his stuff and I didn't watch his movie. But I mean, who doesn't know who Tony Robbins is? You know what I mean? It's like saying, even if you don't watch basketball, it's like saying LeBron James, or it's like he's a figure. And of course I knew how many people. So I got teased for that. That's number one. 4 months later, the Hero Project takes off, and I get, "Do you think you could ever use anybody? Like, anybody? You need help? Looks like what you're doing is really, really good. Sorry I teased you," right? All that stuff, right? And then there's that little bit of me inside being like, "Yeah, motherfucker." You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Then a few months after that, getting the call from Tony Robbins saying, "You're doing good work and you're on my radar."
That's cool.
Right?
That's
But
really
you got to
cool.
go through all of that. You got to go through all of that.
Wow. What is your hero project look like right now? What kind of what are you doing? Where are you? You have a team with you? What's going on? Let's talk about it.
It's a great question. So it's still just me. It's still just me. It's still one-on-one. I have, look, so the Hero Project is my 90-day transformation coaching where it is, where I really take anybody. I also do have high-end clients that pay me bigger money to have me on retainer all the time. But the Hero Project is 90 days, and I take my client from where they are, where they're stuck, and in 90 days break them free. And many of them, believe it or not, into a whole new career path, but where they wanted to go. It's doing great. I couldn't be more proud of it. I love it. I call it the Hero Project because when I grew up, ever since I was out of the womb, believe it or not, I was a huge Superman fan. I had an S on me the day I was born, literally. And the idea of the transformation from Clark Kent to Superman, I just like that idea of Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter, always playing small, and then but who is he really inside? So it just made sense to call it that. It's a part of my heritage, so to speak. I do have I have my own coaches. They don't help me with the business side of it, but they help me with my mind and with
Nice.
my inner strength and my inner fortitude. And we're starting to help people not just build their careers, but with alcoholism and addiction. I'm working now in 2 companies as their like liaison. It's been amazing,
Yeah.
bro. It's been amazing.
I love that. And how are you using these strategies or this hero concept with your kids? Because I know you're definitely instilling something or doing something or using mantras or something. What are you doing? What can you share with us?
So with my children, what I really do is try to lead by example. They
Okay.
see my joy in life. They know. I mean, look, my kids every time, every card ever since they were 2 years old, they put the S, in a triangle for me. I love you, Daddy. And
Cool.
I just love the ideas of them realizing that that they can dream, that they can go for it, that there are valuable lessons in Marvel movies, and there are valuable lessons in Superman movies, and there are valuable lessons in Star Wars movies that are as timeless as the Bible, if not stolen directly from the Bible. And it's good because I get to watch my kids. They get to watch me grow and grow up and become the man they always wanted me to be, and I get to show them that they can do anything they put their mind to, without having that cliche speech of, I'm third generation lace manufacturer, but kids, I know one day you'll be able to do anything. But like, who knows? Like, had I not done this, what if my kids went for it and I was jealous? I'm human. I don't walk on water. What happens if I was stuck running the lace industry and my kids went for it and hit it out of the park? Would there be some sort of jealousy? Would there be some sort of, I wish I had done that? I could have, I should have.
Now that's off the table for sure.
Totally off the table. We're financially secure, and I'm showing my kids, dude, you can do anything. You can do your dad with Superman. I'm out there playing Superman 24/7.
Yeah. Some people might say like, oh, you had a business, you sold it, so you had a bunch of money, so it's easier for you to decide what to do and what you want to do, right?
Ha! Okay, you ready? First off, I will tell you this straight up, and I'll show every single person. I will take pictures of it. That money that I did for my 23 years, or really more, of service, okay, has taken care of my family, my children, my wife, for life, okay? I did not take 1 cent out of their mouth to do this, not one. I had a book, I went to a bank, I got a line of credit, not that big, and a loan, and 2 credit cards, and I bet on me. I didn't take not one fucking dollar that I earned, by the way, not one. And I bet on me. Best bet I ever made.
That's actually a really interesting way to do that, and very, yeah, I think that there's a lesson there. Because what if you did use that money? Maybe you wouldn't have as much drive and desire to make it happen and impact as many people. You don't know. You couldn't, right? You couldn't think about it because you said, "I'm betting on me. I'm doing this. I'm going to go this route," and then you made it happen. It's awesome.
But I would want any, but I'm saying that with so much love, passion. First off, because
I could tell.
A, think that, but B, to show them that you can look, that this is what you and I have been talking about, and this is what you teach in your podcast, and this is the hard part. Okay. Oh, I wish I could do. You can go grab your balls or grab your tits, get to the bank, say you have an idea, it's going to work, pitch your idea, get a loan, get a line of credit for whatever it is, a couple of credit cards, and go and do it once and for all. That's the work. That's where people are going to go, you know what? I'm way more comfortable watching Fox News. I'm way more comfortable playing on YouTube. I'm like, well, then don't say it's easier for me.
100%.
Because you could do it too. Everybody. And by the way, just what you and I just spoke about, that's part of the Hero Project. I work their muscles up, the inner muscles, the fortitude, that when it's time for them to go write their book, start their podcast, open their LLC, they're ready. They're ready. That's and amazing. You know the economy right now. Banks are dying to do this.
And free money almost right now.
Yeah, they're
with
dying
the interest rates.
They're dying to.
Oh, that's great. That's how can, if somebody wanted to work with you, is it right on your webpage to do that?
Yeah, there's a few ways. So first off, I would really highly suggest them first try the Hero 7. It's my free 7-day course that they get a video a day. They go into this place called Workplace. It's very interactive. It's kind of like my own personal Instagram, and then that way they can get a feel for me and what this would look like. You can find the Hero Project on my website, adamjablin.com. You can always find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. But yeah, everything I do is under Adam Jablin.
Adam Jablin. Okay, cool, cool. I wanted to make sure I got that. Make sure people knew. I can see, like, I totally sense the passion inside your voice. Like, I like just a driven individual. So and I can see that if you're going to work with somebody, you are their biggest cheerleader. And I think you probably got a lot of that from Dion,
Yeah.
for sure. Like you saw how he worked with you. So that's that right there. I always told myself from not like this was something about a few months ago. And I don't know if this is out of arrogance or whatever it is, but I was like, I'm not listening to people anymore that don't have kids.
No,
Because I believe in seeing, like, I believe that when you have children and you can in between children and no children, it's like playing chess and NBA basketball. Like, you don't understand what life is like when you have kids compared to not. Our kids were gone for 2 days recently, and my wife and I like looked at each other and we're like, after like a few hours, so what do you want to do? Like, and you know how much they're occupy your life and your time and all that. So and you have kids, so I appreciate what you're doing even more, because you get it. Like, you have, it's just, there's a whole nother realm to it, in my opinion. But that's just
well,
me.
I'm so happy you said it. I'm going to speak in the terms that I can use. I'm going to use Adam Jablin language, and then I'm going to try to tie it to what is kind of in the know. So I would say my kids are my juice, right? That's my juice. That's now in worded in today's kind of spiritual language. Sometimes they say like, "What's your why?" Like,
Yeah.
find your why. My kids are my juice. That is like, I want to be able to show my children who I really am, to make them proud, and to make them walk this earth that I know is going to be full of ups and downs, highs and lows, pains. Have them have a dad that goes like, you can still do it. You can still do it. And there'll be a boyfriend that wants to limit my daughter. There'll be a girlfriend that wants all my son's time. There'll be this, there'll be that, there'll be this test, there'll be that test, there'll be this friend group that wants them to stay just like that, and to be like, dude, you just be yourself. You just be yourself. And all that stuff about that, all that shit that I went through, I did it for you too. You do not have to find your solution in a drink. You do not have to find your solution in a pill. And you certainly don't have to live up to any expectations of me. I'll love you no matter what. No matter what. Don't do stuff for my approval. I'll always love you. If you're the president of the United States, I won't love you anymore. And if you're a junkie on the streets, I won't love you any less. I won't give you any money, but I won't love you any less.
Yeah, that's powerful right there.
It's true though,
If you
right?
can give that message to your kids and genuinely and often, I think that's a game changer for their life.
Oh,
100%.
you should see us. I enjoy my kids. I love them to pieces. There is no judgment on my part. I love them right where they're at.
I gotta ask you, are you the dad that when you have them in the car, sometimes you have like a Tony Robbins tape playing in the background, or some sort of self-help book playing while you're in the car sometimes?
No, no, no. If anything,
I am. I'm
oh, that's great. That's great. No, I got like Tupac, Biggie. You know what I mean? Like, but it's cool, man. I let my daughter take over the radio. We listen to their music. They keep me
Oh yeah.
very in the know of what's going on.
They keep you hip. That's cool.
Yeah, they keep me hip. They keep me young.
Are you on TikTok?
Uh, okay, get this. So I started going on TikTok, but a couple of my videos did good, and my son was like, "That's it, get out. This is mine." She's like, "You're Mr. Instagram." He's like, "This is my world." He didn't like it. 2 of my videos did really well. He's like, "Off, get off."
You got to keep going. You got to keep going.
Didn't like it, dude.
Lead by example, Dad. Lead by example.
You know what? That I had to respect it. I was like, I had to respect. By the way, you know what it was? It was a meditation one that did really well.
Oh, really? What was it? What did you put on there?
It was just, it was me. You could make them all kind of like you could like add these
Oh,
dimensions.
cool.
And I had the right song in the background, and I was just
Yeah.
I was just talking about meditation being like the fortress of solitude, and like you saw a cape kind of come out of me when I was, and it did really well. And he was like, take that account down now.
What does your practice look like right now? Your meditation practice?
So 23 minutes every morning. Sometimes I'll do with a certain music in the background, or like by Dr. Joe Dispenza, or a Dr. Wayne Dyer Moses song, or I'll just do deep breathing. It's consistent. I think I'm getting close to 2,000 days in a row. I have on the Calm app. I have a streak. I can tell you the exact number.
You do have that go for it, where you get to keep track of how many days in a row. I love it.
So yeah, I'm nuts. Because no, sorry, 1,080.
There it is.
So
right
because and the reason I did this was I knew how my mind worked, Justin.
Yeah.
And meditation, for some reason, throughout my 14 and a half years of recovery, was one that I could easily put down. I could easily go put it down and not pick it up for like 2 months. Right? 3 months. So when I decided if I'm going to get the results from meditation that everyone's been talking about, I need to work with my personality, which is a slightly that all-in competitive thing. I was like, I need to build a streak.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do it for 1 full year. But when I was at day 365, I couldn't stop. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now I'm like about to be 3 full years in, but that's meditation's where the magic happens.
Yeah, I have like 6 apps, and I looked at the stats several times, like, oh, these are how many minutes I've accomplished, and so it is something to that our personality likes to see. What do you mean? Like, what is so powerful about it, and what did you notice now that you've been like 2 years consistently meditating?
Okay, so this is my experience. You can
3
tell
years.
Me, yeah,
Okay,
close to 3 years, closely. So this is my experience. It's difficult to put into words. So it feels like my energy is like your energy. So I'm still a high energy person, but it feels like things slow down for me. So I don't feel overwhelmed. Everything kind of always just falls into place. My intuitiveness goes up dramatically on how to handle situations that used to baffle me. I also had to work on that empath muscle, like stop feeling so much of other people's pain and kind of like come in myself a little bit more, and calm myself down, because I'm somebody that wants to save everybody. So if I feel your pain too much, I want to and I need to respect you, and like you need to go through that pain, but I want to encourage you to. I don't want to save you from it. It helped me with that. Really, the thing I would say is it just seemed to slow everything down that used to seem too fast to me, that would make me crazy. I used to feel very overwhelmed, like things were just happening too fast. This email had to be done, and I had to go pick up the kids, but I also have to do this. It was just, and when I got into meditation, there was time for everything.
Isn't that weird?
Weird.
And it's almost as if you can't explain it completely, right?
How can you? It's odd.
I would never be able to be the full-time parent, spouse. Like I really put a lot of effort into my relationship, into my parenting. I have an internet marketing company, podcast, and a meditation teacher. I'm constantly putting out meditations. I would never be, and I still feel like I have plenty of free time. No idea. I can't even explain it. But I know that if I stopped meditating, I'd start losing my mind, and wouldn't be able to be all over the place.
And other
So
people
weird.
listening won't believe what we're saying, but I
Right.
know for a fact that the day that you miss, you're gonna be pulling your hair out. The kids need you here. Your wife needs something like this, da, 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 because you didn't control like that energy around you, whatever it is. I don't even know what the hell we're talking about. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you didn't take care of that thing that you and I take care of.
Yeah.
And that one day, everything seemed to come at you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like a
yeah.
force field comes down.
I've tested it. I've gone 2 days in a row. I've gone one just periodically, and like just fully focused on what, like, if something was off, if this was happening, and I've written about it in my journal on those days, and it's a totally, I don't know if I'm forcing it, but it is totally different. Your day, it almost like gets away from you. It's interesting.
I have a
So yes.
friend. Um, I'm not gonna name his name because it's name dropping, but he's a celebrity, right? And he's been now meditating for 2 years straight. And he used to think his career was over. And the last 2 years, he had the best 2 years of his whole career. And it's remarkable financially, attention, success, just people wanting him, and nobody can prove it, right? We can't prove it, but he knows inside his heart it's because of his meditation practice.
It's really neat to hear. It's really neat to hear.
He know, but you can't prove it. How could you
So,
prove that?
yeah. Are you not name dropping just because you don't think he wants you to?
Both. I don't have his. Actually, he'd probably be proud for me to say it, but also I don't want to ever come off like that guy. But the reason I am mentioning that is it's because it's good for people to know that these celebrities do sometimes feel like that their time has passed them,
Hmm.
that their gig is up, that they're as human as us. Um, and also, I'm just really fucking proud of him. I'm really, really proud of him because he's the real deal. For him to be able to say these are the best 2 years when everyone thought the story was done is great.
See, and I can see that in your face. And for people listening, like, we've talked about this before, and it's been a while, but being a cheerleader for your friends, like when your friends doing something, succeeding at something, trying something, like, support them, be a cheerleader, like, genuinely. Don't hate, don't get jealous. Like, you have to really, if you're really a friend, like Adam does here, support, be proud, and in any way you can, or want to. It's a whole nother subject, but one that I try to
Let me
live by
ask you
now.
something, Justin, because I know I'm asking you because it seems like you and I are cut from the same exact cloth. My question is, does that come easy for you? And then I'll tell you why I'm asking. Being a
Supporting someone
cheerleader,
else, being a
yeah,
cheerleader. No,
for your friend.
the truth is, it didn't used to. Just because I was ego driven, selfish. I got to get mine. I'd see my friends doing well, and I would say, and I would literally say to them, like, I had a couple friends that I told them, like, man, I am jealous. Like, I would literally say, like, I am jealous of what you have, and I'm like, it's amazing what you're doing. Like, you have this great job, you're making money, your family. I would say that, but inside I'd be really envious, and that was a thing that was tough for me to get over. Once I got over that, though, anybody around me that I'm close to, or even sort close to, I love seeing them succeed.
I'm
I
not,
love
yeah.
seeing them flourish.
Wait. Okay, I understand the envious part, but not wanting them envious because you wanted it for yourself, but not wanting
Yes.
them to fail.
Yeah, no, I did not want anybody to fail.
Right.
No, never.
That's the difference between people like you and I and others.
Okay.
Personally, so for me, I'm like you. I don't want anyone to fail. I'm always encouraging people. What I realize is when we say it to other people, what we don't even realize is they're at a different starting place. Not only are they not voting for them, they're rooting behind the scenes. They're rooting for them not to eat for them to lose it. Which is like, so it's like you, right? Like I'm like you. I'll teach that all day. Cheer for your friends. What you and I don't even understand is no. They're even worse than that. We have to bring them all. They're down here. We have to be like, no. First off, you can do it too. You can do it too. Stop rooting against your friends. Before we even make them into a cheerleader, I know, dude. I know. I sound like such an asshole right now. I know. I
Yeah,
know.
but sometimes you just got to be straightforward. It's just the
But
way it
I
is.
found this out, and it was
Yeah.
weird. They're like, I have friends right now that are rooting for me to fail.
Oh,
Guarantee it.
yeah. And then I know you probably are like 90% sure about which ones they are.
100%.
Yeah,
No doubt.
Adam, I'm right with you. I know I could name probably 2 or 3 people that would like laugh or love it. I had and I have failed in the past, and I don't care. I failed at things. I had a coral
Me
company,
too.
saltwater coral company. I tried, and my buddy took all this. It was just terrible, and I failed miserably. And I came out and told everybody I failed. And there was so many people I know, not so many, but others that were like talking behind my back, like that idiot. You should have never even started it. Da, 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 da. But
Well, how's this? How about forget about fail? They want us to quit, which is way different.
mm,
We're going to both continue to fail, right? It's part of success, but they want us to quit.
do you think it's okay to use that as a motivational tool?
I use everything.
That's a great answer. I love if it works. If it's something that works for you, screw it.
I do. Is that bad?
No.
I use everything. I use everything I can.
Oh man.
I use everything I can.
Well, Adam, it has been a delight, man. I want to honor your time. It's been an hour. Let me ask you, this is the final question, my friend. If you can go back, and you actually said a little bit of this, but I'll just reiterate. If you can go back and tell your 18-year-old self any piece of advice, tell your 18-year-old self anything, what would you say to him?
I would I would give that kid a hug, tell him to buckle up. It's gonna be one hell of a ride. That's it. Because the
I like
18, I
that.
don't know about you. This is why I'm saying that to this kid. You ready? Because the 18-year-old me would still look at the 44-year-old me and be like, okay, old man, whatever.
Yeah,
And he,
I should have added, and you would listen to him.
yeah. Maybe still the same,
Yeah.
It's gonna maybe something like it's gonna be okay, something like that. It's gonna
Yeah.
be okay.
Yeah.
But with a little more motivation or give them some
Yeah.
feeling, because it is going to be a hell of a ride.
Yeah, I love that. You know what? You don't want what's so cool about you and what you're doing. And you can see it like in your face. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, you see it. But like for those listening, like Adam you can see like his heart is in his face. Like when he's speaking and talking, it's there. And you would what's really neat is Adam, I know this, and what he's doing, he doesn't want people to have to go through such a traumatic experience to find themselves in their true calling and do what they love, like he had to go through, right? And I think that's important for people like Adam and others like him that are doing this service, doing this work in the world, uh, to almost like wake ourselves up before a traumatic event or a heart attack or someone dying or whatever it is takes us to get to this place. So yeah, or getting fired from a job that you think means everything to you or whatever it is,
Yeah.
right?
Thank
Along
you.
those lines.
Yeah, man, you made me very emotional there
Yeah.
because I couldn't find better words of what that is. It's just true. I don't want anyone to have to go through the pain that I went through.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So thank you again, Adam. I'm gonna
Thanks,
stop now.
Justin. If you ever